Agawam, Massachusetts today, and what we're looking at is the Agawam Center Cemetery. And here we're going to point out lots of features of the cemetery. We're in the old part right now, and strangely enough, there's a lot of things wrong because it's all been rearranged. And the reason why is because when about the 1880s rolled around, they tried to straighten out all these cemeteries, make nice rows for themselves, look like a lawn cemetery, which is a craze back then. And they put everything in rows, and they put them in different directions, and they started moving cemeteries around, and so forth. And right behind us is, right in the ground here, I don't know if this is one of the move stones, but it says Jonathan Fair, 1781 to 1865. The Fair family had their own cemetery in Agawam, and in 1913 they moved it. And I don't know if he's one of the Fairs that was moved, but there's another Fair over here. It says Julia Fair, wife of Horace Brahman, and then Lydia Handler, wife of Jonathan Fair. Right? I don't know if that was the one that was moved. Okay, but I'll look into it and put it on the page for this cemetery. Now, another thing to point out in this cemetery, we're going to look at the gravestone that's broken. Right? It looks like Mary, probably says the wife of David Worthington, died 1808 in her 31st year. Well, the gravestone is broken, and no one seems to be fixing these stones. There's stones toppled, there's stones crooked, there's stones snapped off. We'll go look at more like that. This one should be easy to fix. The pins inside are probably bent. When they put the headstone, the slab of the stones up, the base, they always put pins, 2 pins usually. And then this one right here, there's 2 stones leaning against another stone. Not the best way to solve a problem, but that's the way it is. Now, this gravestone says, in memory of Mr. W. and Mrs. Olive Allen. It's 4 children who died about Clarissa, the 27th of September, age 19 months, and James Hervey, the 14th of May, 1784, age 53 days. Also Kezia, the 15th of July, 1786, in the 10th year of her age. Likewise Timothy, 1795, in the 4th year of his age. You can see right there, 4 children died extremely young, but of course, in the long past, children didn't live very long. It was very dangerous, and that's improved greatly with time. Right, so this is a very sad stone, but notice it's all 1780, so forth. This is probably one of the oldest stones in here. I don't know exactly which one's the oldest, but it's extremely old. Now, even beautiful stones like this one are not correct. It looks beautiful, and well, I'm going to tell you what's wrong with it. And I'll show you stones that are somewhat right. Well, first of all headstones should have the inscription pointed towards the west. And so this stone should be 80 degrees this way, pointing with the large stone inscription out towards the west. Now, there should be over here a footstone that's tiny, maybe about 10 inches high, giving at least the initials. So this one has a headstone pointing in the wrong direction, and the footstone's gone. At least it's here. Now, why is it important that it's here? Well, this is the 2 people I just told you about, sacred to the memory of Ronua, son of Mr. William and Olive Allen, who died February 23rd, 1814, age 25. So even another adult son died very young. So, beautiful stone, but is there any stone in this whole cemetery that points the correct way? Well, yeah, we'll go through a few. Before we get to a few, there's one On the ground here, in memory of Hervey Pitts, grandson of Isaac Colgrove, who died in 1795. And then look at this stone. If you look at it, it looks like a mushroom style stone. This is a person named W.S. Ville. He died 18, it's hard to read, 18 something. But it's shaped like a mushroom base and the top. Very strange. Now even these are wrong. The reason why these are wrong, the large tablet should face towards the west, and it's not. The inscriptions are towards the east. Okay, so again, something's wrong. This whole cemetery in the old part has tried to be forced into a certain format, and it doesn't work. So these should be spun 180 degrees, and the footstones all over God should be over here. Now, if you look at this one, how will it get eroded like this? Well, what happens is this is called brown stone. It's really a form of sandstone, which is just sand pushed together, glued together by quartz usually, with only a little bit of geological pressure to hold it in place. It's a sandstone, so it should erode. Now, some sandstones can last 300, 400 years. Fine. Why are you getting these pits? And why exactly in the middle? The reason why is because the wind swirls around from this side, generally from the west. When it comes from the west, swirls around here, and then sometimes the wind might kick up, point towards the east, just sometimes. And why is the outside decent but the inside pitted? The reason why the wind swirls around it from three sides, it blocks any particles trying to get into it, except the swirling wind really doesn't block the middle because it's hard to swirl towards the middle. And so pitted grains pit into the gravestone and eat them out. And this is very common. There's another one in this cemetery that's almost totally gone because of that. Now, are there any stones right? Okay, finally you meet one that is probably right. It's pointing towards the west, and it says a date on there of 1825. So she should have had a footstone. She doesn't have one, but at least her stone points towards the west, and it's one of the very few that her neighbor does too. And what's the back point towards the east? Someone tried to fit this cemetery so that all the stones that face towards the road would be visible to people, and they could see the inscriptions as they walk by. Now, that's not the way it was made. It was made such that all the stones would face towards the west, and the little footstones would face towards the east. Why would they do that? Because, ready? Because of this reason. The person dies, they put their head stone at their head, their feet has a footstone pointing out. People coming to visit them would not be distracted, would not walk over the grave between. The person on the resurrection day, as forecast by the Bible, according to most Protestant denominations, would get upright, legs out, towards up, and they would then see the resurrection happen towards the east. Alright? So, in the cemetery, the bodies of these old stones from 1780s out to about the 1850s are still right, but the stones are not correct. Okay? So, we're going to do one last thing. We're going to have a panoramic around the cemetery twice. We're going to point out what's what. Okay, so off of Main Street, you have these ancient gravestones, and they're quite scattered around. And then once you get past 150 feet or so, you start to get into the main body of the older stone, other stones that are newer than this, and that's what you see towards the back. Towards the left, towards the right, and the extreme far right is a modern part to fill in. It's a very long cemetery, about 250 yards long. And then we come back to the old part towards the front, and someone fiddled and diddled totally with this. And then across the street, you see a modern Catholic church, St. John the Evangelist, and that's from 1971. Okay, so Agawam has a nice cemetery here. It needs a little fixing up at some point.